You are now listening to Rings Kings Boxing World.
You're now rocking with Ring King Boxing World on the PRO Media Network. We in this thing. Big ups to all the Ring King fighting family members out there in the chat. And in the live stream, much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all chiming in on this installment of Ring Kings Boxing. Got a full slate of topics coming up for Ring Kings. Recapping Anthony Joshua heavyweight fight. We also have the Shakur Stevenson recap. We also have word on Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder, as well as news on Manny Pacman. All that into today's slam-packed, jam-packed episode of Ring Kings Boxing. I'm Big Q chiming in, and as always, I'm bringing my co-host on Ring Kings, Eddie Too Mean Johnson. What's up, Too Mean? What's happening?
What's going on, man?
Pretty much everything in the world of boxing right now, my friend. Kicking it off from the get-go. We start off with one of the heavyweight champions of the world who's basically carrying multiple belts, and that's Anthony Joshua, too, man. He was able to dispatch Pullev. It was just a matter of time. He kind of toyed with him a bit. He showed some maturity, to be honest with you, too, mean. But when it was all said and done, Anthony Joshua did what he was supposed to do to get Pullev out of there. And he did it in rootless form, man. And he looked relaxed. He looked focused. And he set up traps in his matchup for Pullev. He hit him with uppercuts, all kind of stuff. And, of course, we know that Anthony Joshua, he's the WBA, the WBO, and IBF, a world heavyweight champion. He retained his titles by turning the power switch to drop Pullev twice in the 9th round. It was Joshua's first knockout win since his previous performance in September 2018. Pullev crumbled to the canvas under a barrage of right uppercuts and was then finished by that straight right hand, a popping right hand that floored him. Mayweather, who was also popped in, the retired former pound for pound, had made a trip from the United States to be among 1,000 people in the SSE arena and was the first to congratulate Anthony Joshua ringside. And since halting the Povetkin 2 years ago, the English boxer lost his titles via shock knockout to American Andy Ruiz Jr. before regaining them on points a year ago. This was much more explosive performance by Joshua than the Ruiz rematch, as Joshua floored a tough Pullev twice in round 3 and twice in round 9 in front of the first crowd at the professional boxing event in the UK since March. The second defense in his second reign as a world heavyweight clears the way for Joshua to fight either rival world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury or fellow Englishman or Ukrainian Alexander Usyk in 2021. And I think it's more of the latter than the former, as Fury is regarded as the number 1 heavyweight by ESPN after stopping Deontay Wilder for the WBC title in February would be the preferred choice, but because of mandatory defense obligations, former undisputed world cruiserweight champion Usyk might be the first person in the opposing corner to Joshua in 2021. So really interesting is Anthony Joshua demolishes Kilbrat Pullev, moves past him, spectacular fashion. And another interesting caveat is what role does Mayweather play in meeting Anthony Joshua? Could he possibly come into camp and give him some pointers on some stuff? He was looking pretty slick in this fight, rolling with punches, dodging shots by Pullev. I mean, Joshua looked really comfortable in his surroundings taken out. And before we get Too Mean's commentary on it, let's hear what Joshua had to say after the fight. Here he goes.
Champ, many congratulations. Retained your belts. How do you feel?
On to the next one. It's a tough old game. You can't get too comfortable as champion because we're going to be up again in how many months would you say?
About 5-6 months.
5-6 months.
Well, you want sooner?
I would definitely.
Okay.
That was the first fight after how long? Over a year, yeah. So shook off a bit of ring rust, and I'd like to go again soon so I can keep up the momentum.
We're calling it the road to the undisputed. Is it Tyson Fury next?
I'm calling it the road to whoever's next because I'm just knocking them off one by one. Pullev was number 1 with the IBF, serious challenger. He came, tried his best, and he got defeated. And then we'll be on to the next. Respect to Tyson Fury. He's a talented guy, got loads of fans, and he'll make for a great competition when the time's ready. Last year, my road to undisputed was well on, and now I've refocused step by step. I hope you can appreciate that.
Isn't it time for you to hold all the belts, though, or at least have the opportunity to hold them all?
We could bring in my manager, bring in my promoter, ask them. I'm a warrior. This is my first time back in London after how many years?
2 years.
After 2 years. It's my first time back. We've been on the road. It's good to be home, and I'll fight anyone. You know that. I've been challenging some good opponents. In London? Yeah, so I'm happy to be back home.
And you've clearly got a great fan in Floyd Mayweather. He came to see you tonight. What did he say to you? What did you say to him?
I could hear him shouting. His bling bling was blinding me from certain angles. If I could hit them numbers that he's doing, I'll be doing the same thing. He's living life, traveling the world. He's retired and he's a great inspiration to the boxing community. So it's great to have him in the house. It just shows heavyweight boxing is back on the map.
I think there was a sneaky F-bomb in there that I'll have to apologise for. But while the fans celebrate with AJ, Eddie, how realistic is it to get him in the ring with Tyson Fury?
We all know what we've got to do. We all know what he wants. We all know what I want. He don't want to talk about it. He only wants to talk about it if it's signed and delivered. And that's my job. We know what we have to deliver for the fans. Him, when he came into our office many years ago, the aim was to be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. It's the only fight to make next, the biggest fight in boxing. But less of this from me and more of this. So
yeah, thank you. Anthony, it was the night of the uppercut tonight. It was so effective. You enjoy that punch, don't you?
Yeah, in honor of Mike Tyson. Even though I'm like a Larry Holmes, Riddick Bowe type fighter, tall, rangy. I feel like when I was watching a lot of fighters before, I heard the public saying that big guys don't know how to throw uppercuts and body shots anymore. Oh, wait, let me just lap that up. Eddie, it's been a long time since you heard that. Let's do some more. Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a live audience show here at the moment. But AJ,
you made the crowd happy tonight. I'm happy.
The last performance was a brilliant performance behind the jab from you to get your belts back.
Larry Holmes, inspiration to him as well. You know that Ernie Shaver's powers I've been working on. Evander Holyfield parry. I take inspiration from a lot of the greats. Boxing's a serious business and you've got to indulge yourself in the greats that come before you in order to be great. So I'm trying my luck at this business and I'm taking it serious. So
that's Anthony Joshua, man, as you can hear. Very happy after the fight. Too mean. He put on, you seen a pretty good performance against Pullev. Pullev thought he was going to come in there and kind of play the brute. He got it handed to him and AJ gave him a boxing lesson in the matchup. A lot of people were saying he could have got the fight over with, but he showed great ring intelligence and also a lot of patience too, learning from the Ruiz fight what happened when he had Ruiz dangerously in trouble, then he rushed in, the fight flipped on its head. So he is learned from that and he's getting better and better moving forward. What do you think about the matchup and of course the potential matchup against a Tyson Fury or either a Alexander Usyk?
Oh yeah, you can tell that like he mentioned a lot of the old fighters. So he's been watching them, learning from them. And like I say, he learned from his mistakes that he made when he fought Ruiz. I'm saying not to be rushing. You know what I'm saying? When you get somebody hurt, take your time. Because, you know what I'm saying, when you got somebody hurt, that's when they the most dangerous. You know what I'm saying? As you seen when he fought Ruiz, he went in for the kill and got killed. So I think he learned from that. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, he learned from that, not to make that mistake again. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm quite sure Mayweather can give him a whole lot of knowledge, you know what I'm saying, to up his game up. You know what I'm saying? It's a 12-round fight. Ain't no sense of rushing nothing. Take your time. It's all about getting the win at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think he's still learning. You know what I'm saying? I think he's open-minded to keep learning. So he'll get better. But as far as Tyson Fury, I don't have no respect until they correct that shit. I'm saying today he get dealt with for what he did, cheating and steroid use and all that shit. Man, I don't give him no fucking props, man. Tyson Fury is a piece of shit. But like I said, today that shit get addressed and handled. What he did with the Wilder 2 fights, I'm like, man, fuck that motherfucker, man. I don't respect nobody who, you know what I'm saying, who cheat and shit, and then everybody try to pretend like the shit ain't fucking happen. Like, that shit happened, and that shit got to be dealt with, because if it don't get dealt with, it's gonna keep on fucking happening, man. That shit gotta get stopped. A stop gotta be put. You know what I'm saying? That shit got to be put to a stop, man. Plain
yeah, yeah, and that's a part of it too, bro. If you think about it, moving ahead is the 2 fights that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had, and of course he's trying to move past Deontay Wilder right now, and a lot of that's tied up right now in the courts. And we'll cover that article a little further on in the show. But first, let's get to Shakur Stevenson as he defeated Kahn Clary by unanimous decision on Saturday night, the main event on short notice. By the way, he fought against Kahn Clary in a 10-round junior lightweight fight. And Stevenson, who's 15-0 with 8 knockouts, was dominant at 130, beating Kahn Clary by unanimous decision to finish out his 2020. All 3 judges scored it the same way, 100-90. Stevenson, 23, bookended his year at the MGM Grand Convention Center in Vegas, winning Top Rank's first post-shutdown card in June, and then the last of the year on Saturday. He landed 151 punches, including 64 body shots. Stevenson landed more body shots than Kahn Clary, who's 28-3-1. And with 19 knockouts, he landed a total of 48 throughout the fight. Now, Clary observed combinations from Stevenson in almost every round while landing only 9% of his own punches. The only thing Stevenson did not do Saturday was to knock him out, but he did stun him multiple times, including once in the last round. And he really looked good in the fight. He got a lot of experience being around for a long time. When you're speaking about him, what Stevenson said about Kahn Clary, that's all about Kahn Clary. He's 28. He was able to do in his 32nd professional fight. This stopped a 3-fight winning streak by Clary, who recently had lost October 20th to 2018 against Kid Galahad, back in 2018. Now, Stevenson, he would like his first fight in 2021 to be for the WBO junior lightweight belt. That would mean a bout against the winner of the fight between current title holder Jamel Herring and challenger Carl Frampton. After that, Stevenson said he would like to face WBC junior lightweight champion Miguel Berchelt, potentially setting up a year in which Stevenson could win multiple titles and take another step in his career. And I think that's what it's about with this young, talented, and excellent Shakur Stevenson. Let's listen to what Shakur Stevenson had to say after he came up with the win over Kahn Clary. Here we go.
He just wouldn't go down. But how do you grade your performance, which wasn't even supposed to happen if not for the cancellation of Berchelt Valdez?
I mean, before I start, I want to say a happy birthday to my little brother, Isaiah. Today is birthday. I wanted to give him a birthday present, so that was my birthday present. But you got an experienced fighter who know how to survive. At the end of the day, it's fighters who know how to survive, and it's experienced fighters who know how to survive. He got a lot of experience. He's been around for a long time. I know him since back in the amateurs. He knew how to survive. Like, came in there to survive, and that's what he did.
You got some quality rounds. You started boxing back here in the bubble in June, and you close out 2020. You're still young enough to believe in Santa. So 2021, what fights are you asking Santa for?
I mean, I want the WBO belt first. So the winner out of Frampton and Jamel had to come see me, and after that, we're going to go straight to Berchelt.
That's the young, talented Stevenson with high hopes and aspirations, man. He wants Jamel Herring and Frampton winner followed by a Berchelt, man. That's going to be interesting, setting up what could be an interesting year for the young, talented Stevenson. What's your thought process on his fight and win over Kahn Clary and prospects moving ahead?
Oh, man, he's just brilliant boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a master already. You know what I'm saying? And he's just getting better. And I was like, man, that was a brilliant performance. I'm like, superior, man. He's superior than all them dudes, man. They ain't even on this level. And he gonna go through all of them easy, just like he did with the brother, you know what I'm saying, this past Saturday. You know what I'm saying? He'll win every round or knock him out. Like you said, that dude, he was definitely he was experienced enough to avoid the knockout. You know what I'm saying? Hold, grab, and throw his little punches and stuff like that just to survive. He went in survivor's mode because he knew he couldn't win it. I was like, man, that's a brilliant fighter, man. I don't see nobody, like I said before, I don't see nobody beating him no time soon, man. When he get older, maybe. But now, I don't think nobody beating him right now.
He's 15-0, 8 knockouts. He's 23 years old. So, I mean, the sky's is definitely a limit for Stevenson. He has such a firm grasp on what he's doing, and he's talented, man. And 2021 is going to be a big year for Shakur Stevenson. So if you don't know who he is, you're going to know who he is next year. I promise you that much. Let's move it to the next breakdown here, and that's some previews. And, of course, Canelo Alvarez takes on Callum Smith, vacant WBC title now at stake as Matchroom and Canelo Promotions have announced that the WBC World Super Middleweight title will be on the line when Alvarez and Smith clash at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And that'll be, of course, this upcoming weekend be on the zone in 200 countries and territories across the U.S. Canelo, who's 53-1-2 with 36 knocks out, once again reaches for greatness as he challenges the WBO Super Ring Magazine and world #1 rated super middleweight and Callum Smith, who's 27-0 with 19 KOs in Texas. And the addition of the WBC title adds more greatness and glamour to an already monstrous fight. Now, both men have won the WBC straps before, with Canelo winning the belt super welterweight and, of course, middleweight, and Smith landing the WBC diamond belts at 168. And the winner of the December 19th will be ordered to face the WBC #2 ranked in Avni Yildirim within 90 days. So a good caveat there. Now, the WBC is extremely proud to have such a tremendous fight for the vacant WBC super middleweight title, said WBC president Mauricio Suleiman. Canelo and Callum will give the world a superior closing of a difficult year and will make fans from around the world celebrate with much entertainment and enjoyment. I would like to personally praise Avni Yildirim for his exemplary collaboration to make this a reality. I'm delighted that the winner of this fight will be crowned the WBC world champion at 168, said promoter Eddie Hearn. Canelo Alvarez is a pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet, and Callum Smith is the #1 super middleweight on the planet. So it is fitting for the winner to proudly wear the green and gold belt on December the 19th. So, Eddie, with that being said, Canelo Alvarez going up against a very talented fighter in Callum Smith, undefeated. He can box. The guy definitely can box. He has a size advantage on Canelo Alvarez as well. This is not a chump. Oh, how do you see this playing out between Alvarez and Smith?
I see Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I see Canelo knocking him out with a body shot like he did the other guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Canelo can box his ass off too. You know what I'm saying? And he constantly improving too. You know what I'm saying? With with that head movement. You know what I'm saying? The head movement that he has. He can get inside with dudes that's taller than him, or longer reach than him. Get in there and bang that body. And to me, you know what I'm saying? When he start banging that body, man, you're not gonna survive, man, with him. You definitely ain't gonna survive. He gonna definitely get inside. He gonna break the dude. He gonna break the dude's body down, probably knock him out. That's how I see that fight going.
It'll be interesting to see how it's all shake up. But I'm with you too, man. I think Canelo Alvarez is going to win some more belts, and he's going to den up Callum Smith's undefeated record, probably by stoppage or some. So I think he gets up underneath and knocks him out. So we'll see how it shakes in the matchup, and it's a big fight. All right, let's move on to the next bit of information we have. And Jason, talking about boxers, Triple G once again has continued to try to follow around Canelo Alvarez like a lost puppy to give him a third fight. Of course, Canelo has absolutely no interest in entertaining that notion, but that didn't stop Golovkin from doing a fight the day before his fight is. So on the 18th of this week, Triple G makes his 21st defense this Friday against Kamil Zamedera, and we'll see how that looks. And this will be the 21st title defense this Friday night on December 18th when he defends his IBF middleweight title against Kamil Sermeta. I hope that I'm saying that right. Kamil Sermeta. Golovkin is still on the verge of breaking a record for title defense, despite the fact that he lost to Canelo Alvarez in 2018. In other words, he said these aren't 21 consecutive title defense. It's just 21 defenses. This takes away the shine of the record, if you ask me. Still, Golovkin needs to create interest in this fight against the little-known Sermeta because the boxing public has paid very little attention to it for obvious reasons. Golovkin's 40-1-1 with 35 knockouts will be facing the IBF mandatory fighter, and Sermeta 21-0 with 5 knockouts in the headliner position at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Sermeta is one of those fighters that the International Boxing Federation has discovered and given a high ranking. None of the other sanctioning bodies have Sermeta ranked, which is understandable given the low-level opposition he's faced during his career. Can anybody say taxi cab driver? And Triple G did find this guy, and he just seems like to be the perfect toss-up, non-threatening opponent for Triple G as he continues to find soft competition, chasing around Canelo Alvarez. He's not seriously looking at any top-level fighters. He's holding that belt, and he's going to hold that belt and chase around Canelo Alvarez until he gets that payday, and then he'll retire. So, to me, you're not a fan of Triple G like you're not a fan of Tyson Fury. What do you think about this fight? Of course, Triple G is probably going to end up knocking this kid out, whoever he is. But what do you think about Triple G and his 21st defense this Friday against Kamil Sermeta?
You said it all. You said it all already. This motherfucker keep chasing Canelo Alvarez, try to get that payday, and he try to take the less risk possible until he secures that fucking fight with Canelo to get that payday and retire, because he don't want no smoke from them young lions, man. You know what I'm saying? He a pussy. You know what I'm saying? He gonna only fight people he know he gonna win against, or he gonna get paid. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get super paid. But like I said, he's avoiding them young lions like Charlo and Demetrius Andres, because he already know once he fight them, his shit is over with. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect him. You know, he don't need to be up there with the greats like Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns and all, like they put them up there. Okay, Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, they took on them young lions that was coming up. When Marvin Hagler fought what's his name? He fought John the Beast Mugabe. A serious young lion with mad punching power. He took him on and he beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? Tommy Hearns took on Roberto Duran. He took on all them young dudes, man. They ain't avoid nobody. And that's why they still talk about to this day. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Triple G ain't taking that route. He tried to take the easiest route. You know what I'm saying? Avoiding them young lions so he get that payday with Canelo, and then you know what I'm saying, you won't hear from him no more. But they want to put him up there with them greats and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? You beat one of them lions. And if I was Canelo, I would like beat Charlo or Demetrius Andres. Beat one of them and I'll give you a rematch. I bet she be like, oh, fuck it. It look like I'm going to have a rematch then.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that too, man. I don't think he's looking in that direction at Charlo or even at Demetrius Andrade. He's not taking on any seriously respecting competition, because he could have definitely gave a fight like that to Andrade, who's looking for a fight right now, you know, and some suspect moves that he's making there, but he won't be able to run forever. He won't be able to run forever. Sooner or later, he's going to have to see one of those guys, and he'll be exposed, because I don't think he gets the fight that he's looking for. He's looking for another final matchup with Canelo Alvarez so he can get that payday. Canelo is not interested in fighting Triple G. He's not. He has a lot of better prospects. He's not going to go back to fighting Triple G. He's going to keep ascending to fight some of the best in boxing right now, and, you know, adding to his legacy. And I think Triple G, if he wants to start adding to his legacy, that he will fight the young, hungry lions. I think that would give him a lot of respect. And now you got fighters like Andrade and Charlo, that if you could take those guys on and beat them, that would be something awesome as well. So we'll see how that shakes on the back end with this fight coming up on the 18th. So it should be a win, but you never know. Hopefully that guy knocks the piss out of Triple G and stuns him. If we don't think so, because he picks a guy. When he picks him, he showed not to pick him though, too, man. He picked this freaking guy. This guy fighting, he has 8 knockouts. You know, he's not a knockout guy. So, I mean, we'll see how it all shakes. But you know, in boxing, to me, you think he'd be going the easier route, and then the guy just pops the shit out of you and end up dropping you. Let's hope this guy gets a little active here and make it a fight. Let's move on to the next topic of discussion. Tyson Fury still mired in mediation process with Deontay Wilder. This was coming from the Boxing News 24/7. Eddie Hearn and Top Rank promoter Bob Arum are jumping the gun in negotiating a unification fight between Joshua and Fury for May 2021. Fury is still in the mediation process with Deontay Wilder over their trilogy match, and Joshua has the mandatory commitment outstanding with his WBO mandatory, which is Alexander Usyk. Either one of these issues could upset the plans for a Joshua versus Fury fight next May. It's still way too early for Hearn and Aaron to be negotiating the fight between Joshua and Fury, with these issues still hanging over the head of the two heavyweights. Now, before we get into the rest of this, remember we played early in the show what Joshua was saying when he asked Hearn when is the next fight. He said about 5 to 6 months. He said 5 or 6 months. He said, you want to go? You want to be soon? He said, yeah. He wanted it between 3 to 4 months. You see, Joshua wants to get going real soon, so he doesn't want a long layoff of 5 or 6 months. He wants 3 to 4 months to be fighting again. So if he does that, he can probably more than certainly get 2 fights in there. Of course, he's looking at, realistically speaking, Alexander Usyk is the next fight that's on the line for him, because I don't think Tyson Fury gets past Deontay Wilder yet. He will probably have to accept the fight and move on with it. But I don't understand why Deontay Wilder would want to fight this guy after he said all the stuff that he said about him. But anyway, let's finish up on the article. Arum tells Fury is contractually free to take any fight he wants. I do believe Wilder is appealing in U.S. courts, but we don't expect that to be a problem, said Hearn to Sky Sports News, and making some big assumptions. If you listen to Bob, that's not a problem, said Hearn. He's a lawyer and he knows his contracts, and he tells us that Tyson Fury is contractually free to take any fight he wants. It's not surprising that Hearns is saying that Arum is right, because they have something to gain by Fury not fighting Wilder again. They want that lucrative Joshua versus Fury fight, and Wilder could spur all their big plans for scoring a knockout. Hearn expects Fury to come out of the mediation process without needing to face Wilder, but that's wishful thinking on his part. That's a perfect chance that Wilder will win the case, because he hasn't been a year since the two have fought since last February. Also, the pandemic circumstances, Wilder's arm injury, and a lack of dates on ESPN to show the fight. These were things that there wasn't any control of Team Wilder. Instead of resisting the idea of fighting Wilder, Fury should face up to his responsibilities and give his best shot. He might win again, but it likely will be a much different fight this time. Fury's roughhouse tactics involving rabbit punches, shoving, and slapping won't catch Wilder by surprise this time, and Wilder will be healthy for the fight and not come into it with an arm injury like last time. We don't know how much of an impact Wilder's right bicep injury had in the fight with Fury last February, but you got to believe it has some effect. Wilder's best weapon is his right hand. Hearn is ready just in case Fury is ordered to fight Wilder. If Fury can't fight Joshua, AJ will fight Usyk, says Hearn. And that's how it basically ends. So, Tumin, what's your thought process on Deontay Wilder Part 3 with Tyson, the cheater, Fury, and, of course, the prospects of Joshua against Alexander Usyk as well?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say something about Alexander Usyk against Joshua. I was like, yo, that's a fight that Anthony Joshua definitely better come with his A game, because, you know what I'm saying, Usyk is a smart dude in that ring. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be no easy win. He got, like I said, he got to be on his A game. Mm-hmm. Not Usyk going to upset him. I'm telling you. Usyk will upset Joshua if he ain't on his A game. He got to come 100%. And but you know what I'm saying, all this shit going on with Tyson Fury and Wilder. You know what I'm saying, he ain't gonna be able to pull that cheating shit because the spotlight is on his ass now. If he'll be a fool if he try that shit now. So he gonna have to come in the ring. You know what I'm saying, legit this time around. You know what I'm saying? Because the spotlight is on him. Now, if he beat Wilder, then, okay, I'll respect him. But if he don't beat him, like I said, I don't respect him until he beat him. And, you know what I'm saying? And it's all fair, square dealing, man. Until that happens, I don't respect Tyson Fury, man. Plain and simple.
They made a great point about, the fact that Tyson Fury has a lot to lose if he fights Deontay Wilder the third time. Now, skill-wise, Tyson Fury doesn't need to cheat, man. He really doesn't. Skill-wise, if it's about skills. He took Wilder's punch in that fight the first time when he got dropped. He took his punch, his best punch, and rolled over, got up, and fought a pretty decent fight the rest of the way. But listen, outside of that, this is going to be a different Deontay Wilder. This is a pissed off, angry, upset, humiliated, frustrated Deontay Wilder. And I don't know if we didn't see this type of Deontay Wilder ever. I mean, before he won the belt against Severn, you got a pissed off, angry, upset, marginalized, isolated Deontay Wilder that he will have to fight. I don't think if you shot him, you would stop him, Eddie. That's the thing I'm looking at when you talk about Deontay Wilder in the third fight with Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury doing everything he can to get out of this fight. And he has a lot to fear from Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder and that whole apparatus that's cheating with Tyson Fury. I mean, the fucked up referees, Suleiman creating another bullshit division to try to get Deontay Wilder out of that in a way so they can have that fight between Fury and Joshua for that big money. Deontay Wilder about to upset all that shit, man. He's about to upset all that shit. Now, of course, Bob Arum saying that they won't get the judgment in court, so he could be able to fight whoever he wants to fight. But if they bring the argument that the reason why the contract was ended was because of things outside of the power of Team Wilder, then the judge will rule in favor of Deontay Wilder. So anything can happen in that court system unless Bob Abrams' crooked, the dirty scumbag ass has an opportunity to be able to get a little favor there, perhaps. He has been in the game for a long time, but we'll see how that shakes. But Deontay Wilder can upset the whole thing, man. So we'll see how it shakes on the back end. But I think this is a whole apparatus moving, ignoring the cheating and the gloves and everything from Tyson Fury. They're not going to let Deontay Wilder get in there and upset what they got rolling, even if they have to kind of grease palms for the decision to go wherever it needs to go in the court system. So we'll see how it shakes in the back end, man, because this will come to a head in the next 5 to 6 months. It will. Let's move to the final news of tonight's show on Ring Kings Boxing. And we're going to talk Manny Pacquiao. That's right. The Pac-Man said he's aiming to have 2 fights next year. And let's talk about that superstar. Manny Pacquiao didn't fight this year, although the WBA welterweight champion certainly wanted to do so. With his Senate duties taking up a big chunk of his time and the pandemic forcing a possible fight between Pac-Man and Terrence Crawford to be scrapped, Manny had to sit out 2020. This after he'd had the big 2019 and beaten both Adrian Broner and then Keith Thurman. But Pacquiao, who turns 42 this week, December the 17th, says he's aiming to return to the ring next year, perhaps for not 1, but 2 fights. Speaking briefly with the Daily Tribune, the all-time great said he will not be able to box in the first quarter of 2021 as his time will be committed to his political duties. But he is looking at a return in April, and then if successful, again in September. So a quick turnaround. We still have sessions in March, so there's no way I'm going to fight during that time, Pacquiao said. I think I can do 2 fights next year. Obviously, Pacquiao is still a massive deal in boxing with many of the millions of fans all over the globe supporting him. There could be 1 or 2 big fights featuring Pac-Man in 2021. There's a possibility Manny could still fight Crawford or maybe Errol Spence, while Mikey Garcia's name is often brought up with the talk of Pacquiao's next fight comes up. At the age of 42, Pacquiao would be pushing for history if he tackles a ruling welterweight like Crawford, the current WBO champ at 147, or Spence, the IBF and WBC champ, both men being pound for pound fighters. And it goes without saying how if he could defeat one of those guys, Manny's legacy already secure will be even greater. But whoever he finds next, his aide, Choa Garcia says it will be to be in front of a big crowd of fans. Pacquiao needs the energy of a crowd and passionate fight fans, Garcia says. I just don't see him fighting without any crowd involvement, Garcia said. He draws energy from the crowd. No one knows when his next fight will be. It's already been 17 months since Pacquiao fought Thurman, when he rolled back the years and won a 12-round decision over one time to add yet another world title to his collection and become the only man to have been a world champion in 4 consecutive decades. Now, as we close out 2020, how much has Manny got left inside? How many more remarkable performances can this living legend produce in the ring? Will Pacquiao prove to be one of those rare fighters who goes out on top with a win? Or will Pacquiao push his luck in his body and brain too far? It would be sad to see Pacquiao go out a loser, but then Manny has always been a true fighting man who's more than willing to take his risk. More power to Pac-Man, they say. Currently 62-7 in 2 with 39 knockouts. It would be awesome to see Pacquiao improve to 64-7 in 2 in the upcoming year. So Pacquiao, 2 fights next year to me. Nothing early, but possibly you heard him middle of the year, then another fight later on in the year, maybe in September, July, and then in September, again, a quick turnaround for Pacquiao. Only 2 fights. He said 2 fights next year. Really and truly, the only thing I could say about Pacquiao is that we know that the fight that makes the most sense to me is the fight that he has with Errol Spence. Both of those guys are PBC champions. Both of them on PBC. That's an easier fight to make with Errol, who's just coming off a win over Danny Garcia. And remember the plan that Errol's told the world that him and Heyman worked together to create. And that was after he beat Sean Porter, he called it out and he said, I want Danny Garcia, I want Pacquiao, and then I want Crawford. It's working out just like Errol Spence, the truth was saying, and he was the truth on that prediction, because it's easier for the PBC camp to make that fight with Errol and Pacquiao than with Crawford, who's with Top Rank, to make it. I'm putting my money on the truth to line up with Pacquiao, and that's going to be a big fight. What that's going to end up doing is kicking Crawford down so he can fight Sean Porter, which is another good welterweight fight. So either which way, I still see my money riding on Pacquiao. Now, the second fight after Pacquiao, because I think he loses to Errol Spence in that matchup, and I don't know what second fight that he's talking about going after. Probably Mikey Garcia or something like that. I don't know what he's going to do. To ask for a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao to beat Errol Spence. Now, he did beat up on a shot Adrian Broner, and he did surprise me with that win over Thurman, because Thurman said all the shit to drive Manny Pacquiao to tear him up. He told him he was going to retire him. He told him all that. And Pacquiao, of course, he ain't the type of dude you could talk like that to. But to me, bringing you in on this thing, what fights did you see Pacquiao making next year? Is it Errol Spence against him, or is it Crawford against him? Who do you think?
I would like to see both of them, tell you the truth. I would like to see him fight either Crawford or Errol Spence. But at the same time, I'm like, it really don't make sense, because his legacy already secure, man. I'm saying he taking a serious risk. I mean, I'm not the type to tell any man what they can and cannot do, if that's what he want to do. But I'm like, man, he taking a serious risk, man, and getting seriously hurt. You know what I'm saying? But if he fights like somebody young like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, I mean, he can make a lot of money fighting Mikey Garcia. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he's fighting for, because he, you know what I'm saying, he needs money. You know what I'm saying? I think he owes back taxes and all that shit. So that's why I think he's still fighting, man. So, you know what I'm saying, we have to wait and see how that shit gonna play out.
It's a mega fight if he takes Errol Spence, because it's a unification bout for the welter. So that's gonna be a big chunk of change for Pacman. In the truth, that's going to be a big one. I see that more of a reality than what Terrence Crawford got doing with Top Rank. Remember, they were negotiating before, and Aaron was talking about, we had it set up for the Middle East, and then the COVID-19 stuff went down. And of course, you're not going to get a big bunch of people to be watching the fight. I mean, I don't know where you're going to go to find that. I know you get that done, but I just see more of it, a realistic method is Errol Spence the truth and Manny Pacquiao than anybody else. The second fight, I don't know what he's looking, but you're absolutely right. Mikey Garcia would be an interesting fight. Mikey Garcia, and of course the Pac-Man has this crowd, and that would be a nice fight. Then of course there was also the exhibition stuff that Pacquiao was looking at doing as well. It's fighting a guy like
Conor McGregor.
Fighting McGregor. That was something that he was signing up to do the MMA thing. So yeah, you're right. I think some money's tied to it, and that could be the second fight as well. But the serious fight is definitely going to be Errol Spence the True, and Pacquiao. That will give him 3 of the 4 welterweight belts and put him on the direct crash course for Crawford. So only thing Crawford has to do is, if he can't get the fight to Pacquiao by now, and he will have to face his mandatory, which is Shawn Porter, which is a good fight to get ready for a fight with Errol Spence. It's not, and listen, and to me, and you can agree with me, that'll be his toughest fight that he's had. And we're speaking of Crawford and Porter now, would be his toughest fight with Shawn Porter at the welterweight since he made the jump. What do you think?
Yeah. I was watching some fights with Shawn Porter today, when he fought Paulie Malignaggi. I mean, that motherfucking Porter is fucking relentless, man. He did not stop coming. Yeah, but I think honestly, I think that Porter's style is tailor-made for Crawford. Crawford will fucking destroy it, man. A lot of people probably won't agree with that, but Crawford will destroy Porter, man.
Lay it out, Eddie. What would he break it down for the family members?
You know what I'm saying? When you come in, you know what I'm saying, and you meet force with force, it's going to have a strong-ass impact. And Crawford's going to time him coming in, just like he did with Kell Brook. Kell Brook was coming in and fucking jab hitting that he ain't see coming. That's what made the blow land so hard like that. And Porter, Porter comes in. If he get hit coming in, that blow's going to land a lot more harder, man. You know what I'm saying?
What about his chin? Porter got a tough chin. You don't think he stands up to that?
I mean, like I say, he got a good chin, but at the same time, when you get hit with something that when you coming in and that person coming in at the same time, and the punch lands, it's gonna make that blow land a whole lot harder, man. And he got dropped by Adrian Broner, and Errol Spence dropped him. You know what I'm saying? But if he get hurt against Crawford, he gonna get finished, man.
Well, we're going to see that fight coming up soon. That's the mandatory for Crawford's belt is Shawn Porter. And they do respect each other, but Porter's relentless. He comes and he fights hard, and he's a busy fighter. That's one thing that people realize about him. But when he fought Errol Spence, he showed that he can box too. You know, he showed that he can box too. And I wonder if that would be a strategy that he mixes up. And I think he does that. I think he'll have a similar game plan that he used with Errol Spence that he would use with Terrence Crawford. He would mix it up. He has to be able to box him. He just can't come to Terrence Crawford like that. He would destroy him. So I think he'll mix it up a bit. We'll see how it all fares out. But in the end, I think Crawford takes care of Shawn Porter. It's two of the best. They have some really good fighters in the welterweight, very talented, but elite level fighters that's in the welters right now. We know who they are. They're Errol Spence and they're Terrence Crawford. And that is to me, this could we be talking a Sugar Ray, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns type of situation in current regards with Errol Spence and Crawford?
Exactly what it would be like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns again. You know what I'm saying? A super fight. You know what I'm saying? The best fight, the best. And that's what the fans deserve, man. Like I say, it wasn't for the fans, they would none of them be, you know what I'm saying, making the money they're making and all that. So why not give the fans what they want, man? You know what I'm saying? That's the fight I want to see. Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford.
For a unified, when was the last time they had a unified welterweight champion? It's been a while, Eddie. When was the last time we had a unified welterweight champion?
It's been a while since, damn, it was a long time. I can't remember shit. But, you know what I'm saying? When was the last time you seen like 2 pound for pound fighting each other, though?
I know that. It's been a while, bro. This going to be great, bro.
Yep. So I'm like I said, I want to see that. I want to see that so bad, man.
And you probably will get your opportunity next year to me, depending on when the fights get done, because I know that they're both looking to get fights. And of course, we know who Terrence Crawford's upcoming fight will be unless he pulls a 360 and move in a different direction. But we know he's landed up front, and we're looking at him taking on, no doubt about it, in my opinion, to Shawn Porter. And of course, you have Errol Spence, who already said he wanted Pacquiao, and he's going to get Pacquiao. The only thing is Pacquiao doesn't fight until the summertime, which fits right in the time frame for Errol Spence because he just had his fight. And of course, he's going to take that 4 or 5 month break off and get ready for Pacquiao. And they'll sign that deal. He gets that fight. And then, of course, perhaps later on in the same year, toward the back end of the year, you have a unification fight for the welterweight title between Crawford and Errol Spence, because they'll be fighting right around the same time frame. If Porter and Bud Crawford can get their situation resolved, you'll see that those two guys will be fighting their fights right around the time frame, and then a super fight could be held for the unification of the welters for later on in 2021. So 2021 could be a major stepping stone for boxing in terms of unification. We could see the unification of a heavyweight champion, a full out unification. The first time in a long time we'll see that happen since when Mike Tyson did it. Lennox Lewis was the last one to have it. I won't say he was unified. Yeah, I think that answer is Lennox Lewis to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is unification of the welters. And I had to go back and look it up, man, to see if I could find when was the last time we seen the welterweight unification of the titles. And it goes back to 2005 to 2006 with WBA, WBC, and IBF champ Zab Judah. That's right. Zab Judah did it in 05. February 05 to January of 06, Zab Judah had the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF belts. And he had one title defense on for that as well. People before that, you might have forgot this guy, Corey Spinks. Remember Corey Spinks? He did it, Eddie.
Zab Judah took it from him.
So he had it. Corey Spinks had it. And he had the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF belts. He had 2 title defenses and had beaten 2 opponents. But anyway, that'll do it for Ring Kings Boxing. We went to a little history toward the back end. Well, much love to all the family members chiming in on Ring Kings Boxing for this episode. If you enjoy Ring Kings Boxing, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share the content wherever boxing fans gather. And remember, Ring Kings Boxing is for the serious and true fight family member. I'm Big Q. You got Too Mean, the co-host. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you on the next episode of Ring King Boxing. Big ups to you. Peace.
Subscribe now and make Ring King Boxing your source for all the latest fight news.